How's it going, everyone? This is Sam Perry coming at you on the Pulse of Spokane, joined today by a very special guest, Mr. Dallas Lowe. How are you doing, Dallas?
Hey, good. How are you? Thanks for having
Of
me.
course, man. Thanks for being here.
Good.
We'll get to talking about Dallas's business, about his family, right after this break.
Starting a digging project? Before you reach for the shovel, you must click callbeforeyoudig.org, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. Click 3 business days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. Just click callbeforeyoudig.org before you get started. It's the law. Be safe, protect our buried utilities, and click callbeforeyoudig.org. Brought to you by the Inland Empire Utility Coordinating Council.
Awesome. Welcome back, Dallas. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Tell me, first of all, tell me about your business, Golden Rule Break. When I was
Yeah.
looking it up, what really interested me was that your grandfather and your great uncle
Right.
started the business
Right.
back in the 50s.
Yeah, in 1954, my grandpa and his brother started the business, and they got out of the military. They were both Marines in World War II, and they just got kind of an entrepreneurial spirit to them, and I think that runs in the family. So they started the business in '54. So we're celebrating 67 years this year in business, and I'm third generation. My dad bought the company in 1980, and he ran the business for 33 years, and I am now 8 years into my sort of stint with it. Everybody sees me as the owner of Golden Rule Break, but it's interesting that you touch on the legacy, because I really feel like I'm just mostly a caretaker of it, because my time, it will come and it will go. And so it's like, for however many years I've got, I'm just trying to do the best that I can. I'm really grateful for my employees. Those guys work so hard every single day to do on the grounds work. And then our customers. I'm so grateful for them because they are so faithful. We've had some people, in fact, I talked with a guy the other day that he's been coming. Him and his family have been coming to us since the '60s.
Wow.
In fact, this guy's going to do a commercial for us here in a little bit. So we do a lot of radio advertising, customer testimonial type commercials, and so we find customers have real good experience with us, and then we make a little commercial out of their story. And so this guy, I get a chance to meet him, and him and his family have been coming to us since the '60s. So
That's
it's
awesome.
Yeah.
I love a business that's rooted in family and customer
Yeah.
loyalty and trust. It
Yeah.
becomes so much more than just a business.
Right.
It becomes a community and
Yeah.
something that you get to share with others, and something that's
Yeah.
really rooted in you, like from a young age, and others.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your family and
Yeah.
what does that look like with the business? You think you're going to groom your son to take over? What's
Yeah,
that looking
so
like?
we've had the conversation. So we've got 4 kids.
Yeah.
3 girls and a boy. And so my oldest is 20-year-old girl, 18-year-old boy, 14-year-old girl, and a 5-year-old girl. And so the girls, so far, they're like, "Dad, are you kidding me? I'm not interested in that." So it's a little bit of pressure for my son Jeremiah at
Mhm.
18. And so we'll see. I didn't come into the business until later, so I'm 50, and I didn't come in until, what, was 8 years ago. So
Mhm.
I spent a lot of time. I ran a nonprofit Christian ministry, for a real long time. My wife is a songwriter and recording artist. We did music professionally for a super long time. And so I was able to do all that I wanted to do in that arena. Like, I felt like it was a real calling. And I hope the same for my son, that if he is the one to eventually buy the business, I'd kind of like him to just go and do whatever it is that he wants to do, and spread his own wings and not feel the pressure to come into the business. But it is a big part of our family legacy. So we'll see.
Of course.
We'll see what happens. Yeah.
It is better and definitely more fulfilling when it comes back naturally. Like when you
Yeah.
circle back naturally, and it's not something you're forced into.
Right.
I understand that. I
Right.
understand
Yeah.
that.
I don't want him to feel like any sort of
course.
pressure,
Yeah.
but yeah.
On the topic of your family, when I
Yeah.
was looking you up,
Yeah.
over quarantine last year, you and your wife exposed your kids to a lot of past works of art, whether it be music or films, and you thought it was really important to instill this sense of history.
Yeah.
in
So
your-
I
in
put
your
together
kids.
this thing. I made a little acronym of it. We call it our KISS. Okay, a KISS stands for knowledge of influentially substantial significance. Okay, so we had extra time during the lockdown and stuff, and so I thought, man, I would really love for my kids to be exposed to things historical and cultural that, you know, a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, 16, they're not going to get natural exposure to some of these things. I'm a big lover of history and knowing sort of where we came from, and so that we can understand where we're at within the perspective of the last, like in our country, the last 100 years, last 50 years. And so what I did was about once a month, I chose a different topic to sort of expose the kids to. So we did, we read the Declaration of Independence. Okay, we did that once on 4th of July. Okay, we watched a movie on race relations, so we touched on that. I kept an old newspaper from Y2K. Now, do you remember? How old are you?
I'm 21.
21,
so that was like
okay.
right when I was.
All
yeah.
right, okay. So if you haven't heard, Y2K was a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
When we thought like planes were going to crash out of the sky and all that business. So I kept a newspaper for January 1st, 2000, and it was like it turned into nothing. But I kept this newspaper that whole time, and so we read through the newspaper about that historic event. So stuff like that. And old movies and jazz music, classical music that they wouldn't normally be exposed to. So I just really got a kick out of that. And they said a lot of really interesting things about those things. So to hear how they received, that was really interesting. So I really encourage anybody watching, anybody listening, do that with your kids. Expose them to things like that. It's awesome.
That's very cool. I think that kind of ties back into the whole topic of legacy. And
Right.
not just legacy within your family, but with legacy in the world, within your
Right.
culture. The most past works of art I got experienced when I was a kid was like 1980s heavy metal.
Okay, right.
Motley Crue in
And
the
that's
car.
not
That
bad,
was it.
man. That's
sure,
good.
Sure.
That's good.
It's cool. I like that. I like that. What was one of your favorite pieces that you shared with your kids?
Yeah. I don't know, just a combination of things. One thing we did was, back in 1980, do you remember what happened May 18th, 1980?
I can't say I do.
Okay, dude, I
Enlighten me.
bet you guys, you hear May 18th, 1980, a lot of people will know that's when Mount St. Helens blew, okay?
Gotcha.
And so I was, so I was born in 71, so I was young, and but I remember when that happened, and we scooped up some of the ash from our backyard and put it in these little medicine containers,
Oh,
and
wow.
my parents have kept these little, so that's one thing that we did was I showed them the actual ash from Mount St. Helens that my parents have been keeping all these years. So
How
I don't know,
cool.
it's just a lot of fun.
How cool.
Yeah, it's neat.
It's very, it's very important to be in touch with not only like the past of your family, but the past of the world.
Yeah.
And, America, stuff like I've never read the Declaration of Independence myself.
Oh,
I
you
probably
gotta
should.
do it, man. You got to do it. The thing that we miss, I think, in that kind of stuff is, this is why I like reading newspapers. Okay, if you can get your hand on newspapers from like historic newspapers, because when we go through school, it sort of gets all melted down into like very basic things. You'd never really get a sense of what it was like to live through those times. But when you read a news article of something from the past, it puts you right there in the middle of it, and it gives you a way different perspective. And so we run into trouble, I think, sometimes when we're sort of evaluate our current state of our, like say, our nation, if we don't know where we've been. I mean, like, race relations right now are really heightened and all that, and we don't need to get into all that, but good night. We are not dealing with slavery. We're not dealing with Jim Crow laws. We're not dealing, and it's not perfect, and we got problems and whatever, and we can fix those problems. But in comparison to where we've been, and if we can really sink our teeth into an understanding of where we've been and where we are, good night. Life is pretty good right
Most
now.
definitely.
Life is pretty good
Most
right
definitely.
now. Yeah.
It's cool when we have good influences on our kids and the younger generation. And we've been talking a lot about the past, but then the future seems hopefully pretty bright.
Yeah.
If we can really instill the right morals and the
think
right
so.
things into our kids.
Yeah, that's why I think
you
it's
know?
so important to. So when I think about my priorities in life,
Yeah.
I first and foremost, I'm a believer in Jesus, and my faith is like the hugest part of my entire life. But then I'm a husband and I'm a father. It's like those things, aside from any opportunities that I might have in business or any of the other opportunities that come my way, those are fantastic, and I like living that life. But there is nothing more important than the influence that I have, like, on my own children. And it's really hard when the kids are young, but you have to, like, week in, week out, month after month, year after year, really invest in the lives of your children. Once you start to have kids, and I'm telling you, and I imagine you're not there. Do you have kids?
I don't.
Okay, listen to me very carefully.
Okay.
Once you start having kids, you have got to invest in them. You have to. It changes your life in such a way that it is so worth it. It's probably the hardest thing that you'll do is having kids, but it is probably the most rewarding thing. And then now that I've got kids that are adults, an 18-year-old and a 20-year-old, all those years that we spent so much time, and it was hard. It is hard being a parent and hard being a good parent. But I'm telling you, the rewards that we're seeing in our older children as they're mature and we see wisdom coming from them, we see really great fruit coming off of the branches of our children. I love it. And it's worth all that effort. So once you start having kids, you got to just, like, really invest in them.
Yeah.
Really invest in them. Please do that.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Your youngest is 5. How old are you?
20.
20?
I know. Come on.
You got a nice
I know.
range there.
And that 5-year-old, I don't know if she makes me feel young or makes me feel old. Sometimes it depends on the day. So yes.
A little bit of both. I like it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Hey, Dallas, thanks for being here today. Seriously.
It's a real pleasure.
I definitely learned a lot of good.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff there.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming in.
You got it.
Everyone look up Dallas Lowe. Go to Golden Rule Break. It's awesome.
Yeah, dude, if you need work done, man, we are ready for you to take customers. So go to our website at www.goldenrulebreak.com and reach out to us if you need any work on your car. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thanks for being here, Dallas.
You got it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
This is Bloomsday in Spokane. We got about 40 firefighters and their friends and family handing out 40,000 cups of water as the day goes by.
It's a very good opportunity to see the public and support them and help them out and cheer them on during Bloomsday.
It's one of the best things about Spokane is that we have these major events and the whole community comes together not just to participate, but to volunteer and show that they really care about our city and making our city look great.
This type of an event really is emblematic of Spokane because so many people get involved. We have 50,000 people probably running this race. Always has been a very huge event.
Right now we're at the corner of Broadway and Nettleton. It's the last water station before the finish, so people are pretty much dehydrated by the time they get to us. They really need our water.
The water stations are a vital part, especially on warm days like today. It's real important that we have the volunteers to help with that. Without the volunteers, Bloomsday wouldn't exist.
All up and down the course, there are people that are involved in this celebration. It really is a celebration of what Spokane's all about.
At Wendell, you are respected, you are valued, and we have an experience tailored to fit your lifestyle.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Gina.
And we bought 3 cars from Wendell Motors. Throughout the day, I just kind of would get updates, texts, phone calls, and I was actually really impressed with how my wife was taken care of.
People should shop at Wendell because they make you feel like family.
For your tailored experience, come see us at Wendell at the Y or wendell.com.
Welcome to Apex Plaza, Spokane's one-stop cannabis destination. Apex Cannabis features thousands of economy, value, and luxury cannabis products. Cannagear features hemp-based CBD products, glass, goods, and gear. Stop by 1325 North Division to experience the Apex difference.
This product has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming. Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug. There may be health risk associated with the consumption of this product. For use only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children.
When building a home or considering a major remodel, who are you going to choose? The Spokane Home Builders Association is an organization that works to elevate professionalism in the residential construction industry. We promote, protect, and educate for our community, building our community one home at a time. We are the Spokane Home Builders Association.
Thanks for watching. Ask the host a question, recommend a guest, or check out any of our other programs on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Sponsored by Local 29 Firefighters Union, Well Dressed Walrus, and Homes for You.